Hi guys, this is Connie, and it's the epilogue. We are at the end, finally. As I said before in my vlogs, and I've said in most of these, if I haven't said it before, let me say it to you now. Thank you so much for watching this playlist or listening to this book. If you want me to read something else, please send me suggestions. And continue to let me know that you are listening, that you like it, your questions, concerns, and comments. I don't have a lot of time, and this is only 3 pages. So let's go on with Connie finishes Hatchet, the epilogue. The pilot who landed so suddenly in the lake was a fur buyer, mapping Cree trapping camps for future buying runs, drawn by Brian when he unwittingly turned on the emergency transmitter and left it going. The Cree move into the camps for fall and winter to trap, and the buyers fly from camp to camp on a regular route. When the pilot rescued Brian, he had been alone on the L-shaped lake for 54 days. During that time, he had lost 17% of his body weight. He later gained back 6%, but had virtually no body fat. His body had consumed all extra weight, and he would remain lean and wiry for several years. Many of the changes would prove to be permanent. Brian had gained immensely in his ability to observe what was happening and react to it. That would last him all his life. He had become more thoughtful as well, and from that time on, he would think slowly about something before speaking. Food, all food, even food he did not like, never lost its wonder to him or for him. For years, his rescue would find himself stopping in grocery stores just to stare at the aisles of food, marveling at the quantity and the variety. There were many questions in his mind about what he had seen and known, and he worked at research when he got back, identifying the game and berries. Gut cherries were termed choke cherries and made good jelly. The nut bushes where the full birds hid were hazelnut bushes. The 2 kinds of rabbits were snowshoes and cottontails. The fool birds were ruffled grouse, also called fool hens by trappers for their stupidity. The small food fish were bluegills, sunfish, and perch. The turtle eggs were laid by a snapping turtle, as he had thought. The wolves were timber wolves, which are not known to attack or bother people. The moose was a moose. There were also the dreams. He had many dreams about the lake after he was rescued. The Canadian government sent a team to recover the body of the pilot, and they took reporters who naturally took pictures and film of the whole campsite, the shelter, all of it. For a brief time, the press made much of Brian, and he was interviewed for several networks, but the furor died within a few months. A writer showed up who wanted to do a book on the complete adventure, as he called it. But he turned out to be a dreamer, and it all came to nothing but talk. Still, Brian was given copies of the pictures and tape, and looking at them seemed to trigger the dreams. They were not nightmares. None of them was frightening. But he would awaken at times with them, just awaken and sit up and think of the lake, the forest, the fire at night, the night birds singing, the fish jumping, sit in the dark alone and think of them. And it was not bad, and would never be bad for him. Predictions are, for the most part, ineffective. But it might be interesting to note that had Brian not been rescued when he was, had he been forced to go into hard fall, perhaps winter, it would have been very rough on him. When the lake froze, he would have lost the fish, and when the snow got deep, he would have trouble moving at all. Game becomes seemingly plentiful in the fall. It's easier to see with the leaves off the brush. But in winter, it gets scarce, and sometimes simply non-existent as predators. Fox, lynx, wolf, owls, weasels, fisher, marten, northern coyote sweep through the areas and wipe things out. It is amazing what a single owl can do to a local population of ruffled grouse and rabbits in just a few months. After the initial surprise and happiness from his parents at his being alive, For a week, it looked as if they might actually get back together. Things rapidly went back to normal. His father returned to the northern oil fields where Brian eventually visited him, and his mother stayed in the city, worked at her career in real estate, and continued to see the man in the station wagon. Brian tried several times to tell his father, came really close to doing it once, but in the end, never said a word about the man or what he knew, the secret. And with the exception of a couple of things for classrooms that read it, we are done. Oh my gosh. It's dedicated to the Hershey Middle School, the students of Hershey Middle School. Very cool. So thank you so much for listening to Connie reads Hatchet by Gary Paulson. Yeah, this has been wonderful. Be careful with that and enjoy it, please and thank you. And again, like I've said in my vlog and I've said in most of the other videos, that wow, this is the first book I think I finished on camera. But if you have suggestions for a new book, let me know. Leave it in the comments. You can check me out on social media. I'm all over the place. And again, thank you so much for those people who have subscribed to this, because I didn't expect this to be a thing, but apparently you like it. So yay, I'm glad you do. And if you want to keep enjoying it, let me know what else you want me to read. I have one suggestion, and I'm going to end up doing that for myself, regardless of anybody who wants to read it. But hopefully that won't be a complete time suck. This was a pretty good book. I like it. And I hope that you continue to have a fantastic time whenever you end up seeing this video. Be careful with that and enjoy, please and thank you. And we'll do a close-up on the duct tape bookmark. Wow.